Hello, welcome to Questions and Answers to film Home of One's Own by Ruba Atiyeh. The film was screened as a European premiere yesterday at the Ji.hlava Film Festival, and it was part of the section First Lights competition section. I'm Nikola Krutilová, I'm a documentarist, and today we have several guests. We should, first of all, we should talk to Ruba Atiyeh, the director of the film.
Hello.
Hello. There's also probably the editor, Sandra Fateh. She's not here, right?
I don't see her here yet. She might not be able to join, although I would love her to.
Okay, maybe she will join later. We also have the distributor, Noor Alkadhimi. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Hello. And Hadi Nakouzi and Hadi Ibrahim, both part of the C Film production that produced the film, and both also Lebanese filmmakers. Okay, I will just shortly explain to the audience how it works. Either you can type your question in the chat, or you can raise your hand, and in such case, you agree to be part of the recording, the video recording that will be available to anyone during the whole festival. Well, the debate will be in English, so please ask your questions in English. Now to the film. The House of One Owns is an intimate diary of the director Ruba Atiyeh, and she deals in the film with the experience that she had living with exiled mother from her homeland. So first of all, I would like to ask you, Ruba, about in the middle of the film, your mother asks you why you waited 40 years to ask all the questions. Did you need the film to ask her all this stuff? Can you? Yeah.
I think I needed the distance and going back to Lebanon. So the timing was not really anticipated. And actually at a certain point in life, I think one has to stop and ask the most primitive and intimate questions. And they usually go way back. They are never new questions. It's always new answers to very old questions. And this is what I was trying to do through the film. And actually it did happen. Like it took me to somewhere else. Now, after the film, I don't have these questions anymore. It kind of stopped being my issue, but after a very long process.
So it really worked as therapy for you?
I think so. Evolution, let's say.
From the beginning, you knew you want to work with the memories, with the images of memories of yours and your mother's merging into each other? Was that the...
Yes, I definitely knew because I noticed that there was something strange happening in my head. Like there were some scenes that I imagined. I was completely convinced that I was there. I lived there. I saw these. And then they were actually before I was born. Some of them, of course, where I was 4 years or so, but I'm talking about my mother's childhood. And then it made all sense because it was about where she came from, so therefore where I came from. So they had to be where my life started. But they were so internalized that never in my consciousness could I draw a line between what I lived and what I didn't. I lived them all for me. I saw them. I was there.
And your film reminded me a lot of Chantal Akerman's film No Home Movie. Was
yes.
it the inspiration sources for you, or were you aware of it?
Actually, to be honest, no, I wasn't aware of it, of course. But for Chantal, I always felt like I don't want to have the same path. I don't want anything that sad. And then I tried to really search within me as on what makes me kind of stable in life, because we've been through a lot. and I've seen people go through the same we have been through and not being able to face them or transcend them. And for me, the answer was in the film. It was that sense of belonging. And when I started thinking it's belonging to somewhere that I cannot, I cannot be in right now, but at the same time, I was this security came from the realization that those were people with so much love for themselves and for others. And they were all givers, even when I tried to look into the ancestry, like one by one. And this kind of realization made me so secure. I was so happy that I came from those people. But at the same time, this break in time when they kind of disappeared, I had to, I was angry for it and I had to blame someone for it somehow.
And as I searched, this was not your first time dealing with the theme of your family history, but first time in a film. Is that correct?
Well, no, actually, with my family history, it is the first time. I dealt with the estrangement, dispossession, displacement for immigrants, first, second, and third generation through theater, through drama workshops, through commissioned and TV documentaries. But the first time through an authored film.
Okay, since we have the editor here as well, is that right?
No, I'm sorry, but we don't seem to have her.
Okay, so I'll ask you, how was the process of editing? Did you deal with
wow.
or was it an easy path or difficult one?
Actually, until I met Sandra, it has been awful, very difficult. But since I met her, it was like too good to be true, because in the beginning, I tried to work with more than an editor. They were very good ones, but there was something not really, either not clicking or too dramatic, too sensational, too hot, too catchy, and something like that. And this wasn't me. This wasn't the area I was swimming in, if we want to say. And I kept postponing the editing for a whole year. And so until I met Sandra, and it was very strange because the first time I sat with her, she is very unlike me, by the way. And but she almost did not speak, and the very few questions she posed, I was like completely sure and secure, and this is my editor. And the first time she edited, she told me, I want to work on my own. And she came with a whole sequence, something like 2.5 hours. And to me, I didn't like the sequence, but at the same time, I was so surprised at how much she grabbed all the themes, all the layers, all. It's as if she's been there. So I told her, okay, now I lost my panic. We can throw this away and start working together. And all through the editing process, it was unbelievable. Like the vibrations, like we would be, really in harmony with each other. And whenever she said no, or I said no, it was, we didn't have to ask why. And she also opened my eyes to areas, I think she's very courageous, like things that I really loved, but I did not dare put in that way. I would tell her, that might be cheesy, we have to be drier or whatever, but she's so free of all kinds of cliches, and this is what allowed me to be what I see and what I want in that film. I have a lot of gratitude for Sandra.
We're not originally thinking of editing the film on your own, right? You from the beginning knew you want to work with the editor.
Never. It was.
I'm sorry. You are a camera operator in the film as well, right?
Yes.
Scenes?
Yes, but for the editing, I was so afraid because it was so personal, and I was this material, I was dealing with it as if it's a bomb. I didn't want to come close until somebody backed me up.
And since it worked for you as autotherapy, did it also work for your mother?
No.
No?
No. I have to say, I don't think she liked it. She didn't like the idea. For her, there wasn't the break in time was only a kind of, it was just a break. For her, nothing ended there. And we're still going on the same way, the same kind of battles. And she identifies and belongs much more than I do to the collective or a collective. So for her, I think she could not understand those questions because they were intellectually solved. But for me, I was not working on the intellectual level. At the end of the day, she's a writer, she's an intellectual. And for me, I wasn't working on that level. They had to be sorted out in the subconscious and in a much deeper infant-like place, you know. They had to be dealt with at the infant level. And this is what she did not see any need for.
Okay. And the name of your film, it refers to Virginia Woolf's novel.
Yes. Yes, A Room of One's Own. I read it in school. I was something like 14, and I was so taken by the idea, like she got me one way or another. Yes, a place of one's own. And later on, I saw that for us, it was even more complicated with coming from a really far away place, not even having the big place that we were secure in feeling it's ours, and also the individual place.
Okay. And also there's this scene when you talk to your mother about her writing, about her work, and she basically says that with a man, it would be impossible for her to achieve what she has, right? So it refers to the Virginia Woolf's as well, right?
My mother was not actually referring to her. My mother is a Francophone. I'm not sure how much she identifies with English literature. However, she is convinced that the way men are in our society, our times, they, although I don't agree, but she thinks that they cannot take a woman who would be more successful, who achieves more. And of course, she's a great achiever. I don't think I am. Maybe this is why it's not the same problem. So yes, she's convinced. And because, you know, she comes from a whole milieu of writers, artists in the Arab world, and all her fellow writers, the women, her friends, and they've gone through similar experiences. I think it has to do with the generation, with people who were really like progressive, leftists, whatever, but it was all in the head. It did not take the time to sink in and to be a part of the natural self and visceral. So I think this is it. That's the problem with that generation. Not that we are better. We regressed into more of religious waves and all that. But I think part of the regression was because that kind of leap was a leap. It did not grow slowly and gradually.
Okay. Since we have other participants of the film here, maybe I would like to ask Nor about the distribution of the film. What's the idea? How will you distribute the film? What's your vision? What do you want to do with it?
Actually, I found this film is very important for me in person, that it's talk or expresses about something maybe I can't to know about myself, because maybe there is a common feelings between me and Ruba and Hayat in this film. Not all, but there are some common feelings between me and the films and the stars of the film. So I found this film is very important for me in person, and for the distribution. The time of the film is very important because it's a talk about something maybe every day happens in the Lebanon, and now in these days maybe it's very we heard a lot about these things. So I found it is very important not just for that, but also for the the manners of the film, and also for the topics that the film talks about. So for me, for that, I found it is very important to distribute to distribute or to clean the film in Europe or in Asia and the Arab world. This will be very good to audience in these areas.
Okay, thank you. Ruba, from the beginning, you worked together with Noor on the film?
No, actually, Noor came in around the beginning of this year. And she even asked me to make some changes for a newer version that she thought would be more identifiable for foreign audiences. I also had this opinion from people in IFTA. And so I was convinced after hearing it more than once, but still with Ji.hlava, we tried to have the original version, not the new one, edited in 2020. And because for me, my preference is not to really explain myself that much, but I understand that to connect with certain audiences, you have to. And Noor works on so many films in her company. It's it's a new Iraqi company, but the number of films they're working on is kind of huge, and they are 4 women, 4 sisters, and expanding outside Iraq. And I find their way of work really impressive. So, so this is why I'm happy, and how do you say, like, I feel I'm in good hands.
Thank you.
Since we have also 2 other filmmakers here from Lebanon, maybe you could try to clear me up how your production company works, the C Film production, because as I understood, Haneen and Hadi and you are part of this production company, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Haneen, Haneen, would you like to?
No, go ahead, go ahead.
Haneen and Hadi are young filmmakers, very impressive. Haneen writes beautifully, and she's an assistant producer on some projects, a writer on others. We work like a co-op, like we alternate roles on different projects. And Hadi is a brilliant, oh, something happened with the sound. He's a brilliant DOP and also a director. And so I told you, we alternate positions. Something happened with the sound. I can hear myself really loud. This is it. I don't know what they have to say about it. And of course, we work in how do you say, creative methods because of the difficult situation in the region and in the country, not only in the world. So like we work on an emergency mode most of the time. So
Yeah, indeed we do. Yeah, basically the kind of work that we like to focus on in C-Film is like the extreme art house films, you know, the ones with the nichest audiences possible. And it's not specifically a goal, but it's kind of a passion of ours to be as artistic and aesthetic as possible in our films, while also discussing obviously important and personal ideas to us. So I think that's kind of, it basically sums up everything we would like to do and work on. And Ruba, of course, with her lyrical documentary, she's she basically claimed the genre for me personally, like even as an audience member for that film. When I watched it, I was very impressed because she always told me about documentaries. She was my professor. She taught me what documentaries are all about, and especially lyrical documentaries, because she was very fascinated by them. And I never understood it until I watched A Home of One's Own. Like, I grasped the idea of what a lyrical documentary and what something so personal might look like on film. And I was just fascinated by it. Like, she did it so well. And it was so beautiful to me. It was very touching.
Do we also have Hadi here in discussion, I think? Maybe could you, Hadi, also explain your way to see film production? Or
Hey,
hello?
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I think I have a problem with my mic.
I can hear you perfectly. I don't see
Yeah,
you, but I can hear you.
So what was the question?
I'm sorry, now I'm not hearing you actually.
Sorry.
Technical difficulties.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can.
Okay, can you repeat the question, please?
Oh yeah, I was just asking how did you, what was your path to see film production? How did you meet
Yeah.
production? What's your role?
I was Ruba's pupil in college, and we clicked right away when we started. I took a documentary course with her at first. And I decided to adopt the lyrical path too with my documentary. She was really, really helpful while I was creating my documentary. It was a university project, but I really enjoyed it. And then we started working together more on her projects and then on mine. I had some ideas in mind. So we started sharing stuff together. And I created a trailer for her for A Home of One's Own. And she was generally interested in my work too. And while doing my senior film, she was really, really supportive. And I think when I created my senior film, it was the real point where I actually became a member of CFILM and someone who works with Ruba, because the collaboration on my senior film was really impressive. And I don't think it would have been the same if I didn't have Ruba with me in that project. So at that moment, at that point, I think it's clear that we had something in common in terms of creativity or artistic vision. So that's when we decided to actually start working together. This is when I became quote unquote member of CFIL.
It sounds like you have a strong community within the filmmakers.
Yeah.
We do actually, and there are others as well, not as close as Haneen and Hadi, but yes, it is a strong community, and I really hope that this community would be strong enough to develop their very own methods of work, because in our part of the world, you cannot go by the norm and expect things to go the normal way and get ahead. So it's kind of, we're working on really long-term methods in our work, and nobody could have been better than Hadi and Haneen with this kind of vision at such a young age and this way of work. So I think we're lucky to have found each other and Sandra for sure, and some other people who are not with us here. Karine Doumet, our editing consultant, was also very insightful with a very definitive style of hers. That is different, but at the same time, like as if she reads different languages when she talks about different editing languages. So yes, I feel I'm very lucky to have met all those people with a career shift that I made rather late, and I'm really very happy with that.
And does the Lebanese government support film industry?
Oh my God.
It's quite a naive question, but you have to understand.
You know, our dreams are much lesser than that. We just hope that the roads would not be cut. We will not be out of gas. The building will not fall on our heads, and
yeah, I'm sure. And
we don't have a Lebanese government, basically.
Right now, we really don't.
Yeah.
So you have to fund your film on your own and raise all the money.
Yes.
Yes.
And also work so much for free with each other. We basically kind of work for free until and we have to do other stuff that are just money generating, commission stuff and all that, and then make the time to make the films we really want to make.
Yeah.
Okay. I also wanted to ask, your film is very personal, very intimate, but it seemed to me very political as well. Do you consider it political? Is it for you?
I think so. I don't think of political as the current or the hot subject or all that, but all our lives are affected by what is political. You are talking to people who come from a country with like consecutive wars. So everything, the cup of coffee you drink in the morning has to be political. You are not sure if you will be able to sit on that same balcony and drink it tomorrow. So it is not a matter of what I consider it to be or a choice. It's really not a choice.
And are you preparing any other film right now? Any other feature?
Yes. Actually, I'm preparing. We're also all working on it. A feature fiction film, my first fiction film. It's called Fog, or Nshira in Syriac. And it's also a film, more or less, I hate to say what a film is about, because a film is an entity, it's not about. But if we want to familiarize with it, it's about Assyrian Syriac diaspora. They are us, actually, the indigenous people of this part of the world who got subjected to a long history of massacres, cleansing and all that. And the film is a normal fiction film, but the characters come from these backgrounds. So it is not like a flashing light in the film, but it's the psychological trauma that is inherited one generation after the other, and how it affects the most intimate relations. The most intimate. It's a love story, the story of a daughter and a father, and another love story. So it's not also political in the first stance, but it has to do with the memory. You cannot divide your memory.
So you basically continue with your team in the other film as well, right?
Yeah, and Haneen, with work on memory.
And Haneen, are you planning any films recently?
Actually, Ruba has kind of been, egging me on to start writing something, and I'm actually kind of doing something in my head. I'm planning on starting the script in like the beginning of January, but I still want to discuss the film more with Ruba, because we've been kind of busy lately, but we're gonna do that, and we're gonna see where it could go from there. She said that she's willing to help me with anything, and she's gonna be with me every step of the way, and I'm really excited for that.
And the same for Hadi, the same question. Are you also planning to prepare, are you preparing a film right now?
Actually, I've been a bit busy lately with cinematography. I got to a number of projects, of unexpected projects to shoot as a DP, and I got a bit overwhelmed. But definitely, originally my passion is writing and directing and filmmaking in general. But I also like, I really am enjoying being a cinematographer. So I'm kind of going with the flow right now. But I definitely have ideas in mind which I would like to into some scripts.
If I might add about Hadi, actually, Hadi has written with Haneen a TV or a web series. It's post-revolution and post-pandemic. And it was, a very strange coincidence. And actually, it has a big explosion. And the scene was there like a year before whatever happened in Beirut. Yes, an explosion at the harbor. So it was kind of really, yes. And so this
very meta.
So this is what we'll be working on. It will be directed by Hadi, produced by C-Film, and hopefully distributed by Noor as well. So this will be our next project. But as Hadi said, we are all overwhelmed. We've been finishing other projects, and with all the chaos this year, it was kind of hectic.
Hadi, are you talking? I can't hear you.
No.
Okay. On, I guess.
Sorry about my video, by the way, but I'm really, really sick. That's why I'm muting the mic too, because I'm coughing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Okay. Well, in case, is there anything else you would like to add or you would like to say?
I don't think so. That's about it.
Thank you for your film, and thank you for the debate. And
thank you.
I wish you best of luck in
Actually, I'd like to say something about Ji.hlava. It has been kind of strange because I've been telling everybody that I love this festival and I love the artistic selection of documentaries in it. And I wanted my film so much to be in Ji.hlava, and then so much happened with us and we missed the deadline. We completely forget about it. And then we were in contact again through Yana. I cannot pronounce her family name properly. And she sent this email saying that Ji.hlava want the film. And I was like so happy because, you know, it has been a week and we're saying we lost Ji.hlava, we missed Ji.hlava. I'm very happy to be in Ji.hlava, and I hope you go on with your kind of selection that is really different. It has a special taste. I hope that online move would not affect your choices in another way, because it was really and still is a very special festival. So thank you for having a home of one's own here.
Thank you for the words of support, and hopefully maybe with your other film you will be able to come and debate in person maybe.
I really hope so. Maybe Haneen would be, the next documentary would be Haneen's. And there's also another Syrian documentary we're producing, but we will stay with you, I hope.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
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 Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.